All right, so I had a friend message me recently that they got a bow. So just on the topic of archery, um, in terms of like what you need for arrows when you buy a bow, I think it comes down to two things. Did you buy a recurve or did you buy a compound bow? Recurve, I'm gonna presume you're shooting around 40 to 50 pounds. Compound, I'm presuming you're gonna be shooting around 50 to 70 in that range. So depending on what you buy, at this point, I definitely back carbon. I experimented for a year or two with aluminum just to see, and aluminum does have its benefits. I did like certain aspects of it, but after going back to carbon, I pretty much I'm sold on carbon. Now, basically, the two most important factors, or just the one most important factor when it comes to picking out your arrow, is what they call spine. Anyone who's like seriously into archery may already know all about this, so I'm just kind of blown in the wind at this point. But for anyone that's not super familiar, spine basically indicates how flexible an arrow is. So for anyone that doesn't know, an arrow is not traveling completely straight when you shoot it out of a bow. It's actually flexible and it's kind of like wobbling, through the air, which propels it. Now, for, the weaker a bow is, basically you want it to be weaker. You want more wobble. The stronger the arrow, the bow, basically you want it to be like a stiffer spine, is what they call it. So what you want with a recurve, generally speaking, again, it's all case by case basis, but generally speaking, you want what they call 500 spine arrows. That is like a rating, basically meaning that it's a pretty flexible arrow. And I would say if you just type in arrows into anywhere, Amazon or eBay, believe it or not, I want to say 90% of those arrows that are popping up are probably 500 spine. So you probably get a lot of beginners shooting the wrong arrow because they buy these compound bows with 70 pounds of pullback and, they're shooting 500 spine arrows, which is not good. I don't know all the risks of that, but I do know your flight is not going to be as accurate as it should be. And it may also be dangerous. I don't know. Again, I don't know the full risks because I'm not 100% an expert. I mean, I've been shooting archery since about 7th grade, but I don't work for an archery shop. I don't work for a bow maker or arrow company, but I just know it's not right. So for a compound bow, you want 300 spine. And that's it. I mean, it's pretty simple. If you get a compound bow, you're shooting 50 to 70 pounds, I say go 300. You may have an expert kind of guide you from there, but I mean, that's going to be your base point. Now, you have a lot of guys talking about, cut your arrows down, arrow length affects the spine. If you go shorter, you are increasing the stiffness of the arrow. So you might be going from like 500 spine to like 470 by cutting it down. When you're buying an arrow that's rated at 500 spine, that's it. You keep it there because otherwise, you don't cut it down unless you want to go stiffer for like a reason, In my experience, I've done a lot of experimenting. Arrow length, I don't think really affects anything, other than the spine rating. There's no benefit to having a shorter arrow versus a longer one. So really there's no benefit. As long as it works with your draw length, then If it's 31 inches, leave it at 31 inches. The other thing you can do to affect the spine is the arrowheads. So I want to say arrows, probably presume you're going to be using a 100 grain arrowhead. I have done experimentation with like 125, 150, even 200 grain arrowheads. What that does to an arrow, if you go heavier on the arrowhead, you're actually increasing or decreasing the stiffness, so going up on spine. So if you need like more wobble, then you go higher on the arrowhead. But that's all very advanced stuff, to be honest. It's all super advanced. You don't really have to worry about that. Generally speaking, go with 100 grain arrowheads, and then you want to go with whatever arrow is appropriate for you. Recurve bow, say 40 pounds, 50 pounds, whatever. Go 500 spine arrow. And then if you want to go compound bow, say anywhere 50 to 70 pounds, I say go 300 spine. And just a side note, I believe Easton, which is a very popular arrow maker, manufacturer, or whatever, just be aware. I think they have their own proprietary spine rating system. So you can't use what I'm saying when it comes to Easton arrows. You probably got to do your own research there. So just take that under advisement. And other than that, the only other thing too is, and this is purely opinion and preference, I do prefer like real feather fletching over like fake veins, like plastic rubber or whatever they are. I don't know. I just feel like feathers fly better. So if you have a chance or opportunity to get some like maybe custom carbon arrows with like actual feathers, I prefer that. That's just my opinion. I just think they fly better. So I don't know. But anyway, that's it. That's my opinion on arrows for archery.